Hey guys, what's going on? It's Cadillac Dylan coming at you once again with another review. However, this one's going to be a little different. It's not going to be something that's been released in the last week like the previous one has been. This is actually a classic review that was requested by a very close friend of mine, um, Ryan Prater, a guy who you guys may or may not know. He makes music himself under the title of Windwalker. I'm going to put the link down in the description. You guys need to give him a shot, listen to him, follow him, love him like I do. It's just common sense, guys. You should definitely do it. But he requested an album from 2007 by the wonderful band Between the Buried and Me. That album is going to be Colors. Colors was the fourth studio album by Between the Buried and Me. It came off of the heels of the breakout album Alaska, which was actually where I got introduced to Between the Buried and Me, was the album Alaska and Selkie's The Endless Obsession, which is still probably my favorite song from them. Um, the interesting thing about Colors is although it is 8 separate tracks, they seamlessly blend all songs together, so it seems like a 1 hour song. It's might sound strange, but you go through the cadence and like everything that happens in each individual song, and somehow it transitions seamlessly from one to the next. It's beautiful, it's art, it's amazing. Ugh. So the styles that you can find while listening to Colors, you have primarily death metal, you have jazz, there's some pop rock, there's some space rock, and randomly you run into a moment where they break out into a good old fashioned country hoedown. Yeah, I said a good old fashioned country hoedown. So we'll go ahead, we'll get started with it. The pros from this album is, with me personally being the type of guy that I am and the type of music fan that I am, I listen to all types of music, and Colors checks pretty much all of the boxes on that list. You have amazing melodies, you have crazy, crazy guitar harmonies, you have, just guttural, low, just sludgy metal. Um, and then at times you have things that are kind of like throwbacks to, you can witness how heavily influenced that this band is by Queen, Dream Theater, just these different and very differing bands. Tommy Rogers, the singer from Between the Buried and Me, one of the great things about him is he has this uncanny ability to transition from this like harsh, low growl, and just out of nowhere his cleans are blazing, and it's just at a moment's notice that he goes from like one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum, and it's modern, it's just art, man. It's art. Paul Wagner is the lead guitarist for Between the Buried and Me, and he sets a bar far too high for modern guitarist. Um, I know a lot of people may or may not know him by his name just because he's not known to be this guitar god. But if you're aware of this band, he is known to be a guitar god. He is basically, if John Petrucci from Dream Theater had a child with John Petrucci from Dream Theater. I said that. John Petrucci, I fully believe, can reproduce solely. He is some form of robot, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you guys could probably tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think that I am. But, Paul Wagner takes everything that John Petrucci's known for, just like his speed, his precision, his technique, everything that Petrucci does, and he elevates it into his own style. Not saying he is elevated beyond Petrucci, just stating that you can obviously tell he is a huge fan of him, and he takes that style and he blends it with, their brand of death metal. it is a sight to behold. And I don't want to get myself hung up talking about each individual member of the band because I honestly could. I mean, every one of them are just fantastic. They are leagues above many, many other musicians in their fields, but I'm not going to do that. So cons from Colors. Between the Buried and Me, even though they have a wide array of musical types at their disposal, they are not a band for everyone. I could definitely see where they could be considered repetitive, just because a lot of times it is this fast-paced, just extraordinarily heavy, screamy, aggressive music. And I could see where not everybody would fall, into that. But for myself personally, I don't really see it as a con. I'm just doing it from a standard, not amazing, not somebody who is as into music as I am. So we'll go ahead and do a quick rundown of the 8 tracks on the album, starting with Foamborn A, the backtrack. So Foamborn, the thing that's really interested by this, like I mentioned earlier, they're heavily influenced by Queen. It starts off the album with this just amazing piano entry with, Tommy Rogers singing, just being amazing. It has this great harmony to it. It's quite possibly the greatest intro track of any album I've ever heard. I've said it. So it then begins to crescendo from that point, and it mixes with what's known as BT Bam's style. So it goes from this like very, very amazing, harmonized, just beautiful piano into death metal. And it's just like this quick 2-minute roller coaster, and it hits pretty much on all fronts. So what's fun about that is as it builds and it builds and it builds, it builds into the second song, The Decade of Statues, which gives you no time to breathe. When Foamborn ends and second 01 begins on Decade of Statues, it punches you in your freaking mouth. It takes off like a rocket. It is quite possibly the most typical and bare version of Between the Buried and Me that you can find on Colors. It's unapologetic, it's hard-hitting, it's death metal, it's, a lot of people throw the term math metal around just because their time signatures are so weird. Whatever, I just think of it as metal. But it hits you in the mouth, and then at around like 4 minutes into it, you're treated for surviving that time with this jazz break. And when I say jazz break, I mean the guitars break from their distortion and it cuts to just like clean, and everything slows down, and it's so chill and it's amazing. And my only reason for that is why not? And then coming off the heels of that, it starts with the song Informal Gluttony. Informal Gluttony starts off with this like tribal drum and tribal chants, and it kind of has this and it's slowly building, and it builds, and Paul Wagner comes in with this like hot lead, and it feels like you're traveling through a desert. It kind of has like that feel to it. And again, it just kind of from that point blends itself back into Between the Buried and Me's chaotic style of here's this, here's this, here's this. At no point do we run the same riffs or anything at the same, multiple times in a song. And towards the end of the song, you're treated to a didgeridoo. How many death metal bands do you know have used a didgeridoo? I could think of none. And again, the next song after Informal Gluttony, it breaks into a 10-minute odyssey that hits all boxes of style that you can imagine, and that song is Son of Nothing. Son of Nothing has Tommy Rogers hitting with, his cleans are just beautiful. And the thing that I really enjoy about Tommy Rogers, like, a lot of guys nowadays, and even back in that time, were using auto-tune, they were relying upon different effects, reverb, just a lot of heavy compression to make their vocals sound amazing. But you can tell Tommy Rogers was very comfortable in his own skin, so at no point does he use heavily those effects. It's a lot of what he can do, because if you listen to them live, that's how he sounds live too. It's fantastic. So one of the really interesting things about Son of Nothing is it goes from like the blazing speed and the death metal you come to love, and out of nowhere at around a 3-minute mark, it becomes one of the creepiest songs I have ever heard in my entire life. It has this like mixture of like children laughing, and it's like carnival music. And it's so strange because it's like the kids are doing this na 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 na, and then Tommy Rogers is over top of going chika. So it you just have to check it out. It's weird. I can't do it justice. I'm horrible. I'm just gonna stop. My bad. So it goes through all that. It rewinds back into their classic style of just amazing guitar work and speed, and then it closes with this just beautiful melody. It's what metal bands dream of whenever they write choruses for their songs. The end of Son of Nothing, if you are a metal fan, if you are a metalcore fan who has like the singy parts with it, this is what you want. It's what everybody's looked for. It's what they've dreamed of, and Between the Buried and Me found it and perfecting it well before you guys did. So, they might I say they are the Christopher Columbus of melodic metal? I'll go with it. Up next is Ants of the Sky. So the cool thing about Ants of the Sky, again, it's another song straight out the gate. You go 0 to 60 in 0.4 seconds. Just instantly, the opening portion of the song is just this unbelievable, arpeggio sweep guitar that Paul Wagner's known for. There's really not much I can say about this song other than it's aggression. It's confusing at times because it takes a minute to, like I had mentioned earlier, it has a break of like a hoedown. It's so weird because you can hear like the banjo, the mandolin, everything breaking out in it, because it goes from like this jazz portion into that hoedown, and you even hear like one of the guys in the background being like, "What the hell you doing out there, man?" And like they even have like that redneck tone to it. It's so weird. So following Ants of the Sky, we then blend into prequel to the sequel. Far from a poppy, pop rock hit, but it's by far the most poppy song on the album. Once again, just amazing clean vocals by Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers. Just amazing clean work. Again, it's the thing that's hard about Between the Buried and Me to review is finding something that you can say about them that hasn't been said before. I mean, they are Picasso of metal. Like, it on paper, it shouldn't look as good as it does, but like the huge nose that they put on this like beautiful person is beautiful for some reason. I don't get it. Prequel to the sequel though, it also treats you with a random accordion break. It's just another one of these occasions where Between the Buried and Me is just like, you know what? You need to hear this. And do you want to know why? Because I think you do, and I don't really care. Viridian. So Viridian is the calm before the storm, okay? Because you're at track 7. You've went through, 45, 50 minutes of just aggression and style changes, and you don't know what's coming next. And out of nowhere, things just break and slow down, and you get this master class in like jazz guitar solo. And not only guitar, but bass. The work that is done on that song with the bass alone is just spicy meatball, if you know what I mean. And as I mentioned before, it's the calm before the storm. So it's chill and it's chill. And then it starts building and the drums start driving. And then it enters the 14-minute masterpiece known as White Walls. White Walls is the culmination of everything you've witnessed over the last hour. It's just so driving. It's me personally, outside of Selkie's The Endless Obsession from the album Alaska, this is the best song that Between the Buried and Me has written outside of that. Again, the guitar work in this is where it truly, truly shines, not downplaying any of the work that any of the other musicians have put in, but Paul Wagner just once again drives everything home. He's amazing. The last 4 minutes of this song, if you do not listen to the entire 14-minute masterpiece, that's on you. But do yourself a favor, listen to the final 4 minutes of that song. It is some of the most amazing guitar work ever done because it blends the jazz solos and the smoothness that Paul Wagner can bring to just shred-worthy solos. And the thing that's so amazing about the solos is it's not only Paul Wagner just being like, oh my God, I'm going to melt your freaking face, but then Dusty, the rhythm guitarist, he does a lot of harmonies on top of the lines that Paul's doing. So they layer these solos almost in like a Iron Maiden type style. It's so hard hitting. It's so amazing. It's beautiful. It's, in all honesty, my favorite death metal album of all time. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not, a lot of people might slam me for saying it's death metal, but it is. I don't care what you say. The final rating that I would give Colors from Between the Buried and Me out of a possible 10 is 100. 100 out of 10. What I'm trying to say is quit listening to my voice. I'm going to leave a link to Between the Buried and Me in the description, and possibly some songs, maybe even like the full album in the description. But go give them support. Listen to them. They're still making amazing, amazing music. I know that they were recently nominated for a Grammy. I think it was for Parallax. I could be wrong. Have to look that one up later, but that's neither here nor there. But they were nominated recently for a Grammy. They still put out great music. During last year, they did a at-home COVID live show. Everything about them is just, you need to listen to them if you're a metal fan. You need to listen to them if you are the type of dude or gal who just wants to hear amazing guitar work. If you want to hear just an amazing, insert any musical instrument you can come up with, you will find them in this band. So do yourself a favor, do them a favor. If you haven't discovered them, consider this your moment of discovery. Go check the link in the description I'm going to leave. And until then, as far as it goes, leave me a like, leave me a comment. I'm always willing to talk to you guys about anything. Definitely subscribe. And if you have any reviews that you would like to see, please feel free to leave it in the comments and let me know, and I'll definitely get it back to you. So thanks for stopping in once again. And until next time, take care of yourself.